Good afternoon, Oxford. I'm Thula. Today is Thursday. It's time for another show. The Midday show starts right now.
You know, when I think about my legacy, it kind of hurts a bit that this is going to be part of it.
Sarah's top 5 video. I don't know.
Today on Top 5, we're going to be discussing the top 5 most annoying things people do at school. Starting with my personal least favorite, walking slow in the hallway. It's odd to me that we've learned how to walk when we were like 1, 2 years old. And people today still don't know how to do it. Another thing that people do that annoys everyone is asking a question in class that was just answered the second before. Like, listen to the teacher, and then you'll know what to do, instead of just asking something that was literally just said.
Today, I'm assigning you a 7-page essay, and I want to stress that this is due at the end of this period. So that means exactly 44 minutes, actually 40 minutes. I'm sorry I kept you guys waiting so long. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
So, do we have tomorrow to work on it and the weekend?
We also need to discuss how annoying it is when people refuse to use the second door that's conveniently provided for you in the hallway. People don't use it, and then there's a traffic jam every single time. People don't get the concept of just opening the door. Okay, moving on to number 4, interrupting. Whether you're interrupting the teacher who's trying to teach, or interrupting my personal work time and thoughts. It's annoying. Just don't stop.
Hey Sarah, can I borrow a piece of paper? Hey Sarah, can I borrow your eraser? Thank you. Hey Sarah, can I borrow a pencil?
The 5th and final most annoying thing that people do at school is throwing things in the hallway. Sometimes you get hit with the object, other times you get hit with the thrower's arm. Either way, we'd all rather not be a part of it. Like this, or this, or this. Hope you enjoyed today's top 5, the most annoying things people do at school. See you next time.
Well, that's a little bit about my life. Welcome to Weekly Fails, everybody. I'm Sarah Bartlett.
And I'm Gina Politis. We're here to share with you some of our failures from this week. So I hear the list was fairly long this week, Sarah. Care to share?
Yes, okay, it all started earlier this week, okay? I had to send an email with a picture of myself in it to one of my buddies because he was putting together one of those the senior send-off PowerPoints, you know? You want a nice picture of everyone in there, you know, to make it all nice. So I was like, yeah, let's get that done real quick. So I went to an email and I typed like, oh, like, hey, here's the picture or whatever. And like out of habit, I hit send, but yeah, I didn't put the picture in the email before I hit the send button, so it was an empty email there. So I tried to do it again, and I did the same thing again, and it happened a couple times just like that until he got a few empty emails before the picture. So
Oh my God.
that happened. It should have been simple, but it wasn't. So.
Did he say anything about it to you?
Yeah, he was like, oh, wait, what was the deal with that, you know? And I was just like, technical difficulties. Like, it wasn't me, obviously. It was clearly, like, the iPad. So,
Yeah. I've also had some technical difficulties this week myself. So a lot of people like listening to music, you know, popping the headphones in, jamming. I like to jam on my way to school, personally. Yep. But this particular morning in calculus, I we were taking a test, and it was really quiet, and I hear music playing, and I was like, man, someone's listening to their music like really loudly, like with their headphones, and I was like starting to get like really irritated. I was like, I'm trying to take this test, someone's just over here listening to their music, and I look and I see my headphones plugged into my phone, and I was like, oh crap, did I ever pause my music from this morning? And I was like, oh crap. So I slyly reached over and just like turned the volume down really quickly so it didn't look like I was cheating, but it was really embarrassing.
So it was you then causing the
It was
sound.
me. I was
Okay.
the one causing the disturbance.
So you were that person.
I was
that person. Okay, well, I was that person over the weekend because I was like, hey, I have some free time. Let me get a Redbox movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's fun. I watch it with my fam, you know.
Yeah.
Great thing. So my mom gave me her card, you know, and I went over to the Redbox and I pulled up. Embarrassing thing number one, I pulled up too far in the spot and I scraped up the bottom of my car, like right next to somebody who's on the sidewalk. They just looked at me like you almost hit me, you know. And I was like, it's fine, like I didn't hit you, we're good. So, and then I get out of the car to like do my Redbox thing, you know. I pick out my movies and then I'm like, all right, gotta pay. I swipe my card and it's not reading my card. And I swiped my card like 30 times, okay, and I was like, putting it in different directions, flipping it around, you know, like trying to get it to read, and it wouldn't read. And there were people waiting to get to the Redbox, like behind me, and I was just taking up this time, right? And they're just watching me, like, what is this idiot doing? Like, just put the card in the thing. And I tried to put the card in the thing, it wasn't working. So I went back to my car, and I was like, hey, Mom, like, my card's not working. You know, what do I do? She's like, oh, just try it again. So I was like, look, I tried it like 40 times already. She's like, oh, okay, we'll just forget it. And I was like, you know what, fine, I'll try it one more time. So I got back out of my car, and the same thing happened again, where it wouldn't read my thing, and all these people were like getting annoyed and like angry with me, like trying to get my movies. And I don't know, it was just the whole thing was the problem, and in the end, like it took me over a half hour to get two movies from my Redbox.
What was the problem? Was it just not reading?
It was just not reading my card, yeah. And
sorry for that.
I mean, it's bad enough that it happened once. Then they saw me go back in my car and get back out to do it again. So
these people just wanted their movies, and you were taking up
I
all
know,
that time.
I know. So
I had an embarrassing moment, not like that affected anyone. It was just me stumbling with my words, as many of you have witnessed before. So I was walking to school, my friend Sierra, and it was kind of wet out, and I knew it was going to be wet, and we were walking in the grass, so I was like, okay, I'm going to wear boots so that, like, my feet don't get wet, right?
Yeah.
So I wore boots, and I started to feel, like, water in my shoe, and I was, like, trying to yell, hey, crap, like, there's water in my shoe, like, even though, like, I was wearing boots, and I ended up yelling, oh my God, there's a sock in my shoe. And I was like, oh no, like I realized what I said, and I was like, oh man, that's embarrassing.
Ooh, sock in your shoe.
Yeah.
That's bad, man.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. It's just like, were there other people like around to hear you?
No,
like,
it was
say
just
that?
my friend
Okay.
Sierra.
Well, that kind of sucked. All right. Well, thanks for watching Weekly Fails with us. That's all we have for this week. I'm Sarah Bartlett.
And I'm Gina Politis. Guess we'll see you next week for many more failures. And now to John's Sport Corner.
Good job, Mark. Hello, and welcome to the Inconsistent Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Chance.
And I'm Ron Burgundy.
And the only thing consistent is our inconsistency.
We're here to talk about the Eagles' 2019 draft picks.
First round, offensive line.
Andre Dillard.
What do we?
At pick 22, I liked it. I like that pick. I truly do, because he's gonna be replacing Jason Peterson. Yeah, he's not gonna play probably that much this year unless we move Jason Peters to left guard. And
I was watching the draft that night, and I was not a fan of it when it happened, just because Montez Sweat was still available. And I'm just scared of the Redskins now that they have him and Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, that doesn't bode too. I liked 53.
Yeah.
53 overall. We took Miles Sanders, and
Same pick as Shady McCoy.
Hey,
looking future's
I
bright.
think at 53
You weren't wasting a pick.
You're not wasting a pick. Exactly.
It's not a big enough. Well, it's still second round's still a pretty big risk.
That was my dream pickup. I did not think he would fall to 53, but when he did, I was so...
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Even though just like Mark, Penn State bias. It's really cool. Keep him in Pennsylvania.
We took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Arcega-Whiteside.
Good 50-50 wide receiver. Throw the ball up to him. Hopefully he'll come down.
I like it. Have a slight issue though.
I can't stand that he's exclusively red zone threat.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a top tier red zone offense now. I mean,
But they got to get there first.
Yeah, we wanted a. I at least wanted a replacement.
Maybe instead of taking Clayton Thorson, they could have took a deep threat wide receiver, someone fast.
Well, they did that with Shelton Gibson last year.
Yeah,
we saw how that worked out. I'd rather have Arcega-Whiteside than Matt Collins, though.
Yeah.
So we could talk about Clayton Thorson, quarterback. What do you think?
Bad pick.
Bad pick.
Bad pick.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, I was just saying that because you were, but I think maybe he could work out good. I've seen some highlights. He looks okay.
I just don't see him making the jump to the NFL.
I feel like you.
And he's not mobile enough to be a dual threat like anything.
Like to be able to run around and stuff.
I just feel like you don't take what's more than likely going to be turned out to be a third-string quarterback in the fifth when you still have some decent linebackers left. And yes, we got Zach Brown in the offseason, you know.
Worked on it a little bit. They could have used
but
draft.
I still think we could have gotten a linebacker.
You can't say that the Eagles aren't in win now mode because they are. They need a draft right now, I think.
Yeah, it's like
they were in the Super Bowl just last year, so they need a draft
2 years
last year because this year was.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching the Inconsistent Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Chance.
And I'm Mark.
The only thing consistent is our inconsistency.
We do it. The outro should go like the intro. I'm John. I'm Chance. I'm Mark.
The
and then the
next
outro should
live
be
segment.
I'm Mark. I'm Chance.
Out of all movie monsters in giant monster films, no monster seems as unfortunate as the Toho monster, the demonic god beast Bagan. He was a kaiju first created during the planning of what would eventually become Return of Godzilla, the first Heisei movie of the Godzilla series. He first appeared in the 1980 script titled Resurrection of Godzilla as a godlike monster with three forms: a dragon-like form, a monkey-like form, and a fish-like form. The script was then changed in 1983, where they added a form with features of all three of those previous forms. The script was eventually thrown out, and the movie became what is currently Return of Godzilla. The next rule was to be a monster in the movie Mothra vs. Bagan. This initially kept the three-form concept, but they decided then that he would only have one form in the movie. This movie was also canceled, and he planned to show up again in the Heisei version of Godzilla vs. Mothra, and that appearance was also canceled. The script was then thrown around in 1991 for a film titled Godzilla vs. Bagan as a sequel to Godzilla vs. Biollante, but they replaced Bagan with Ghidorah because he's King Ghidorah. He's the second most popular kaiju in the movies. Another script from 1995 was considered as an alternative for Godzilla vs. Destroya. He was also suggested to appear in Rebirth of Mothra trilogy or the sequel to the Toho movie Yamato Takeru. He finally appeared without being canceled in the 1993 game Super Godzilla as the final boss, where his design was one of the unused concepts for his appearance in Mothra vs. Bagan. That was a long list of movies for one giant monster to get canceled from. Speaking of lists, here's Gina and our top 5 list.
Are you experiencing trouble getting that special someone? Aren't you curious why Cupid hasn't given you luck in the world of romance? Well, look no further. Here I am to tell you the top 5 things you're doing wrong. Number 5, confidence. Have you ever been told that most people are attracted to confidence? You would imagine that the more confidence, the better.
Hey, how you doing?
You totally want me. Like, totally. Not even funny.
This is a false statement. Mind-blowing. It is true that most people are attracted to confidence. However, there is something called overconfidence. What? This is what you want to avoid. You need to be able to find a middle ground between barely being able to look someone in the eye and telling them that they want you. Number 4, friendliness does not always mean attraction.
Hey, what's up?
Oh my God, it's happening!
Just because somebody's nice to you does not mean that they're attracted to you. There is such a thing called being a friendly person. What? It is possible that someone just wants to be friends with you because they want to be friends with you, not because they're interested in you. Number 3, think before you speak. Really take the time to think over what you're gonna say. Think to yourself, hey, would this make anyone uncomfortable? The answer is yes, or maybe. Don't say it.
Got these pretzel things, and they were good too, and the apples are good, and yeah, everything's just really good.
Wouldn't it be funny if I told him how stupid he is?
Hey, you're so stupid.
Number 2, and I cannot stress this one enough, hygiene. There is a combo of cleanliness that one must achieve daily in order to smell decently throughout the day. First, you have to shower, and you have to use soap. A common misconception is that the water from the shower cleans you. It does not. Mind blowing. Water does not wash you. It does not make you clean without the soap. And just to be clear, cologne or perfume does not mask the scent of your stank, okay? Instead, it combines into an even worse smell and makes me want to puke whenever I smell it, so please don't do that either. Next, you also have to use deodorant daily. If you think to yourself, I don't use deodorant and I smell fine, that's a lie, and people just don't have the guts to tell you. So you're welcome. Please use deodorant.
Alright, so I went to Sheets. That is disgusting. You know? Wawa.
Oh dear God, what is that
Much
stank?
better.
Did he bathe in cologne this morning?
What?
Yeah, I gotta go.
Number 1, being a friendly person. The whole concept of hard to get is completely stupid. Nobody wants to talk to someone who is being mean to them. Just be nice and maybe they'll be interested in you. Or just want to be friends.
Good afternoon, Oxford. Welcome to It Really Happened.
Ghost edition.
This is a brand new live segment about ghost stories that have happened to us personally. Now, Ashley, I'm McKenna Ebright, by the way.
And I'm Ashley Dively. Hi.
Ashley, do you have any stories to tell us today?
Oh, I do. I used to have a terrible fear of ghosts, and my friend and I decided to go beat that fear, so I went to a graveyard. We were walking around this graveyard, and I was scared to the core. I was shaking and hiding behind my friend, going, it's okay, it's all right, they can't hurt me. And I had my arms tucked to my chest, and I had my head pressed against her back when she goes, stop tickling my elbow.
Oh, what?
And I go, I'm not tickling your elbow. My hands are close to my chest, fearing for my life.
No way.
And she goes, oh, I don't like that, that's freaky. So I run out of the graveyard, and I'm standing by her car, rattling the door, going, let's go, I want to leave now. And she's like, oh, I'll get a couple more pictures. And she's standing under a hanging tree.
Ooh.
And
like one of those trees where it's really big and you can has that one long branch.
And she's taking a picture when she screams, and she could have sworn she felt someone run their whole hand under her arm. And we got in the car and we skirted out of there.
Skirted out.
Absolutely.
That I would do the same thing, but I'd be driving more recklessly.
Oh, you can't drive any more recklessly than Paige.
You're not
so,
wrong.
What about you? Do you have ghost stories?
I do have one ghost story, and this scared me so bad. There was one time I was home alone in my house. Both my parents were at work or at an event. I can kind of forget. This was when I first moved up here, so my room was bright blue, even though it has nothing to do with it. But it's cool addition. So what happened was I heard footsteps kind of walking in my house. Yeah, I heard footsteps walking in my house, and I started freaking out, and I didn't know what to do because I was I remembered I was home alone.
Oh.
And I was well, if I'm home alone, did my parents come home? Whatever. So I look down the hallway, I peek out my door, I'm looking down the hallway, and I see nobody there. And the footsteps stopped right when I peeked over. So then I kind of go back to my bed and I sit down, and I just hear them again. But then they start coming from the other completely end of my house and start just running towards the other end of the house. And I freaked. I kind of, I slammed my door shut. I pushed my dresser, which is like right next to my door, in front of my door, and I called my neighbor. Why I didn't call my parents, I don't know, but I called my neighbor.
They're not available. Your neighbor's right there.
Yeah, I called my neighbor, and he's my age at the time, and I gave him a key. I opened my window, I gave him a key through my window. I said, somebody is in my house. I said, you need to check it. All of my neighbors are outside also watching, saying that they saw nobody go inside, and I'm like, my door is barricaded. I'm inside like crying. He comes in the house, he checks it, and he says nobody was in the house the entire time.
Gross.
And I told him, I said, I heard footsteps run to my door and stop at my door, and my door kind of like slammed. He's like, no, nobody's in your house. I said, well, somebody was in my house. And he's like, no, nobody. And I asked my neighbors, they said, nobody pulled up, because we have cameras. One of my neighbors' houses have cameras. And they were like, no, there's nothing on the cameras, nobody pulled up, nobody went inside. I could not go back in that house for a week. I stayed in my grandparents' house next door. I couldn't do it.
Disgusting.
It was bad. It was really, really
horrible.
bad. Yeah.
I don't like ghosts.
No, I don't either. See, ghosts are out of this world.
I would get yourself a priest. And,
I think we need one. Maybe we should bless ourselves with sage tonight. All right.
nice. All right.
Well, thank you for listening to us on This Really Happened Ghost Stories edition. I'm McKenna Ebright.
And I'm Ashley Dively.
Now on to the next video. Am I on? Okay. Now remember, you can't stand backwards on stairs. We hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great afternoon. Bye.